Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Rock Dog 2, Rock Around the Park. No idea this was actually getting a sequel. 5 years later after watching Rock Dog, and that film has enough heart in it and enough of a fun vocal cast to be enjoyable. And you have the likes of Luke Wilson and Eddie Izzard and J.K. Simmons and Sam Elliott and Kenan Thompson, and it's like it had some fun to it. And then this comes out and none of the vocal cast comes back, and you just get like a bunch of just no name, for the most part, voice actors. You do have like Ashley Ball, who's been in like all the My Little Ponies, and like Graham Hamilton, who's been in a couple of things as Bodhi, who was Luke Wilson, and this just feels so cheap. Like, such a cheap direct-to-VOD sequel to this film that, to begin with, was like a solid, at best, animated feature 5 years ago. And you have director Mark Baldo, who's known for doing like Bionicle movies and Barbie movies. And this film looks pretty bad. Like, the lack of detail and the smoothness in these characters looks really awkward and really low budget. Like, this was just like an afterthought. And obviously they skimped on paying a bunch of big name actors to be in this film too, and really what you get feeling like this is like a really cheap ripoff. And on top of that, it deals with like this story. Bodhi is influenced to go out on tour and become this big, larger-than-life personality musically, and then becomes a sellout and leaves his home behind, and this like sheep who is like has this nefarious plan and everything, and there's some twists here, which one of those twists has a really, really bad pun in it. And like, this movie is pretty insufferable for like at least a half of it. The dad character, who is J.K. Simmons in the last one, says like half of his lines are just quoting famous rock songs, and it's really, really annoying. And most of the dialogue is really poor and awkward. There's weird gags in this film, like one of the goats just walks around in his towel still, and it's just like, it's not funny. And it tries to have emotional stakes that don't really pay off, because it feels like it's a film that tries to build off of this last film, but has shaken so much up that they don't even feel like the same characters anymore. Like, the dad character doesn't seem like it's the same dad character, even just beyond them changing the voice actor. And this film does find its heart a little bit more in the third act and becomes much less insufferable. And like, there's some logic gaps, definitely. Like, there's an avalanche in this movie that's like the slowest moving avalanche ever to build tension. And like, the climax of this film is like a rock battle, and that was pretty solid. But like, they play the same exact song over and over and over and over and over again in this movie, and it's just like, apparently these bands only know one song and can't play anything else. And honestly, Rock Dog 2, Rock Around the Park, just feels like a really cheap afterthought sequel to go straight to VOD. And like, you know, Toy Story 2 was originally supposed to be straight to video, but that's a great film. It is a great film. I think it's a better overall film than the first one. It really builds off of things. This feels like it's trying to ride the coattails of the last one and really doesn't do anything to stand on its own. And it's a pretty disappointing and uninteresting film to begin with, and some really just bland vocal performances as well. So I would pass on this one. But those are my thoughts on Rock Dog 2, Rock Around the Park. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.